Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is Eisenherz, and a few days ago I asked the cEDH community on different platforms about their cEDH advice, rule of thumb, or even cEDH hot take. Today's the day. Let's read out all of the comments and give my 2 cents on it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, this first comment is by Fufizi. Never feed the Rhystic fish with the intention of helping them find an answer for player X. They will find a win of their own first. Yeah, mostly true. Sometimes you need to feed the fish a little bit, or the Rhystic, but generally speaking it's not a really good idea. Remember, when your opponents are politicking, they do not have your best interest in mind. This one is by Not Richard, and I totally agree. Don't let yourself be mind controlled by other players. Next one, by the one and only Eric Taylor. Most people's cEDH takes are headcanon, not rooted in reality or data. That is so true. That's why we need proper data to give advice. Next one is from myself. In order to sandbag like a boss, you need to identify bottlenecks, and I still think that is true. Bolt the Bird and Kill the Cradle by Max the Faf. I totally agree, especially if you're playing against Rock Thrasios. And this one is by Wizards OT Border. Playing value engines, card or mana production incentivizes you to stay locked in during your opponent's turns. That is true, but you should be doing that anyway. That's what differentiates a mediocre and an advanced player. Comment by Pietro Gasparin. Every white deck should run Tithe. Not Smothering Tithe, but Tithe. I don't know about that because I don't play too many white-based decks. But Tithe is this instant where you get like a plains out of your deck. And if your opponent has more lands than you, you get another plane, I think. So it's pretty good ramp. And I also think it's instant speed, so that's a good card. Next one, Jacob Spats. If you are the player that is most behind in the pot, you do not use your resources to stop anything. Yes, true. 100% true. Don't do that. El Vibora at home. Sometimes someone has to make the player with the most resources do something. It's not always your problem. And yes, this ties into the last comment. Don't be the fool that tries to police the table. Comment by Nado. Always kill Kinnan. Yes, agree. Commander's broken. Classic side part. Turbo ain't dead. People just believe the narrative and have ditched vrooming. They do not dare anymore. The vroom never dies. Yeah, I still like turbo decks. But yeah, the mid-range meta makes it a little bit harder because as soon as 1 or 2 Rhystic studies are in play, it's mostly over for the turbo decks. Comment by John Winehandle. Remember, the first draw of Rhystic is only cantrip, the second draw is officially feeding. Yes, kinda agree. Like, drawing 2 is okay of a Rhystic, drawing 3 is already really good, but drawing 4, that's when it starts to get broken. Eric, Asian Dorado. Play League of Legends. Oh, please don't. I mean, cEDH community can be toxic at times, but I think League of Legends is in a whole different sphere. It's like super toxic. That's what it's known for. Demon Time tournaments. The meta is fine. The issue with cEDH is player mentality. Lose together like adults. I don't know. I mean, yapping is kind of a problem to a degree. It's part of the game, totally. But then draws are a huge problem. And that's not part of the game, it's just part of how we rate games. So I think the meta is okay. The issue is there's a few cards that need to be banned, and then there's the issue with like draws in tournament settings. And yeah, people need to understand that losing is okay. You don't always have to force a draw. Alright, Lebroni. If someone asks if you have anything for Scary Spell, the answer is always no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a hot take, right? It's not always no, but I tend to agree. Don't let other players trick you into interacting when they should be interacting. I'm also the god of sandbagging, so don't let other people like mind control you. TJ #1 Siege Rhino fan, learn by playing with other players better than yourself. Always do that. General advice in life, right? If you want to become better at something, you need to practice with people that are already good at it. Not with people that are also bad at it. Yeah. Play against good players to learn. Liasandra, taking a break is sometimes hard, sometimes necessary, but almost always good for your mental health, and I agree. Yes, definitely. Peter, A good hand consists of value engine, ramp, and interaction. Nothing to add, that is true. Combo pieces are not always necessary in a good hand. If you draw enough cards, you will find your combo pieces. JP, always hit the life for draw players. Okay, yeah, always hit the life for draw players. Necro, Sylvan Library, Atnos, etc. Yeah, that's true. It's usually the player with black cards. Mostly like Gnaws, Necro stuff. But yeah, always hit them. Because like a single damage against an Atmos player is one less cards they will see through their Ad Nauseam or through their Necropotence. Definitely do that. Hungry Guitar Student, ATN. If you're not having fun, take a break from the game. Yes, I agree. That is good advice. GG Brit. Gitrog is no longer a non-deterministic deck. See you all at the pond. I don't know what Gitrog does at the moment, how it has evolved. It used to be one of my favorite decks just because it was non-deterministic, and had those crazy loops. I don't know how the deck wins now, but it could be true. I have no idea. Horse Rider number 3. Don't play against good players to practice. You'll have a lot of games in the Swiss where your opponents are bad and you gotta play for one to two other players so they don't randomly throw the game. Ah, okay, I get what you mean. Yeah, Swiss rounds can be a jungle, and you should know how to handle games where not everyone is like top-notch player. And that's a huge part of like yapping and politicking. So it is important, but honestly, I wouldn't spend too much time playing against bad players. It's much more important to become a good player overall. And then you'll figure that out, the other stuff out over time. Ring 13, play 60 card to improve at 100 card. Yes, I agree. There's a lot to learn from 60 card formats. I personally play Pauper a lot. I love Pauper. Noble Team _6 DB. Rule of 3 is where it be. I think that refers to having like 3 pieces of a card for redundancy, I think. To get like some consistency in the deck, and might be true. I don't know. Just like Eric Taylor said before, it's not rooted in data, I think. It's just headcanon, but it could be true. Always Jam Second by Mickey Regals, Mowitz. Yeah, Mowitz is one of the best players here in Germany, and I tend to agree. Usually when you're the first person to go off, you will run into a lot of interaction, unless it's like Roxai and you're going off turn 1 or turn 2. But in my experience, being the second person to try to win usually has a higher success rate. Everybody just win? Yes. I think it sounds so profound, but if you have that mentality and like really go for it and like play like it, that play the game in a way that you are trying to win and are trying to be the threat, and your opponents have to deal with you, not you will not have to deal with your opponents. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but if you really emphasize that mentality, it kind of is actually successful. Kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fonzie from TCG Hub and cEDHHub.com with the comment 4. And yes, I agree, it is a great number. It is where I like my cEDH pots to be at. Definitely agree. Sage, make him have it. When you mull down to 4 cards and it's a shit hand, stop thinking I should have just kept the mediocre 6, 7, whatever. Yes, I agree. First and foremost, make him have it. That's great advice. Like, it also ties into the just win strategy or mindset. Yes, sure, your opponents could be having interaction, but maybe they don't. So go for the win, right? Make them have it. And also, Mulligan's probably one of the most important parts of playing Magic. And sometimes you just need to mull aggressively. Like, I think Memo said it a few months or a year or whatever back. He said, I'd always keep a hand of 3 if it would be land, mana, crypt, Rhystic Study. And yeah, I agree. I mean, that's not viable anymore, but still. Mulligans are hard. Mulling aggressively and correctly is even harder. Loka Topaka. Tune your own list. Running someone else's 99-98 is fine for learning a deck, but understand the roles that each card fills to get the most utility out of them and make edits to fit your own playstyle. I agree. Copying a list is good to get started, but then you need to change the list to fit your own playstyle. Bola Siang. Again, play to win. I agree, we had that before, and it is still good advice. Stephen Wilkerson. To bring decks more in line with one another, we need to ban Tymna. I've been an advocate for like fixing the partner rules before. The fact that Tymna provides a solid color identity and turns every creature into draw engine is super broken. TNT, Tymna Thrasios, all those Mardu Tymna combinations is super broken. Esper Tymna combinations, Tymna is just way too good. Same with Thrasios. Traum is okay, Rock also broken. So those three, definitely broken commanders. Again, Loka Topaka. The One Ring is a mid card that makes mid decks less mid against other mid decks. I disagree. I think the One Ring is absolutely broken. I played an Urza. I mean, yeah, Urza is a mid deck for sure. But the way that I'm able to abuse the One Ring is crazy. And I think it's a great card, actually. It's definitely a lot better in 60 card formats because you can play 4 copies, but I love the One Ring. It's one of my favorite cards, to be honest. Fearlo, the one and only. Always try to predict what the following turn cycle will look like and when your final turn is going to be. Schedule your win attempt and use your interaction with this in mind. I agree. This also ties into the fact that you need to keep track of your games. If you know when your best window of opportunity is, so around like turn 3 or 4 or turn 5 or 6 or 6 or 7, whatever, you're much more likely to use your interaction wisely and in your favor, right? Good advice by one of the best. Demoros cards. As an average player, the best single thing you can do to improve your win rate, conversion percentage, whatever metric, is switch to Tymna Crom. And I agree, TNK is by far the best deck, and it is not, like, people underestimate piloting TNK because it's easy to play TNK and have success, but it's not as easy to play TNK and play to its fullest potential. I've played TNK before and it took me some time to like really get everything out of it, right? But yeah, definitely agree. If you play TNK, you will definitely increase your win percentage. Other than that, it's just play a lot and be critical and mindful of your play and open to feedback. That'll get you really far. And again, track your games. There are great apps. I made a video about that before, to track your games and get valid input that will help you to become a better player over time. Nate, Chaos Rising 90. Learn your own deck before learning your opponent's. Very, very true, very important. Sunglasses. Macro skills is more important than micro. I think this refers to like mulliganing and stuff, and I think it's true. And like general, what's my game plan, and yeah. I think, yeah, focusing too much on the details doesn't really help, except for like very specific situations. Connor, cEDH, don't play bad cards just to answer fringe situations. Yes, 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 yes. So I see a lot of people play random cards because they can do this, then, or that in very certain situations, and I usually tend to disagree with the inclusion of those cards because I think card quality is one of the most important factors in brewing. Verak, Kevin Simmons, we all know him. Play the game with a good attitude always. This is a political game and making enemies is one of the fastest way to cut off trade routes. Whereas people will want to help you if you are polite, positive and understanding of their positions. Yes, I agree 100%. That's one of the first things I tell people when I coach them is when you go to a tournament, greet everyone, be respectful of everyone, just have a good attitude so that people are much more incentivized to like play in a positive way with you, which also leads to being able to politic much more efficient. It's super bad to be a rude or toxic person. Really hurts. Kai Sawatari, our artist from Berlin. cEDH is a lifestyle. Customize your deck, make it look special. I 100% agree. Not everyone does, but I definitely do. My Urza deck is pretty much blinked out to the fullest. Currently like trying to get some signatures and some artist proofs, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And I love it. Really just love having the cards in my hand and looking at them. Great way to make a deck more special. Oh, again, a comment from myself. If you can't win at instant speed, your deck is probably shit. And I still agree with that comment, especially in today's meta. And one more of my comments. The difference between 1 mana and 0 mana counterspells is infinitely large. That is so true. Having 0 mana open and being able to interact is so broken. Whereas having 1 mana open and being able to interact is a huge difference. Right, with 0 mana you can cast 5 free counterspells. With 1 mana you can just cast one mana counterspell. So yeah, free interaction is broken. Again, Kevin Simmons, Varag S. It's fine to disagree respectfully. I agree. Again, emphasizing respectfully here. Jake, draw punt. Heroes use Candy Trail with convoluted loop for their value. Don't give in to big Rhystic. I mean, yeah, Rhystic Study is just broken as fuck. We need to ban that card as soon as possible, and I hope it will be banned next year. There won't be any bans this year, but the card's just absolutely broken and needs to go. Battle Shatner, learn to Mulligan. Strong 5, better than a mediocre 7. 100% true. I would even go as far as to say like a strong 3 is better than a mediocre 7. C9 River, hot take hottie. Don't save your opponents unless it helps you to do so. Force players to interact with stuff that hurts them, and don't free them up using resources if you can play undercards that primarily affect your opponents. 100% true. Don't randomly remove pieces that don't really hurt you. Always, especially with a stacks effect, make sure to understand that a stacks effect that hurts you also hurts other opponents, and if you use your resources to remove that stacks effect, you're basically helping your opponent as well. And you should always consider that. Again, also ties into the whole idea of not policing the table. Rainer Foltz. So, if you don't play any removal control in favor of flavor, that is just bad deck design. Yes, don't do that. We're playing cEDH, right? Not casual. Jacob Spatz again. People take draws way too easily and early. Unless you're 99% dead within the current turn cycle, you probably shouldn't draw. Agree. Forcing draws, I mean, I made videos about forcing draws and how to do it and why it's an elegant solution stuff. And I still agree that it is kind of an elegant solution, but it's hurting the competitive scene just because it leads to very weird situations where people draw their way into top 16 and stuff. So yeah, don't always take draws. Play the game to win, and then just win. Sirenio, Tino, you need to be able to play your deck to such a level that you don't need to think about playing it. This is so important and so true. I made a video about working memory and automation before in my cEDH Masterclass series. And this is so important. If you know your deck in and out, you know all the lines, you know all the setups, you know what to tutor for in what situation. This frees up so many slots in your working memory that you're able to have a much better understanding of what's happening on the board, what your opponents are trying to do, and so you're much more likely to use your interaction correctly and not make any major mistakes. Super important advice. Also, by one of the best cEDH player in Germany, and I think the best in Europe at the moment. Definitely listen to what Tino says. He knows his shit. Jake Ballingy, Zarek MTG. Oppo the fetch land. I don't know. I think you can time it better sometimes, but it depends on your opponent, right? If you're opping the fetch land of a turbo deck, it's good enough, usually. Then you also still have a stacks piece in play. Sky Pavlov, kill Rock. Also, Glass of Urza is a good card. Killing Rock, I agree. Glass of Urza, solid. I made a video about open information, hidden information before, and I still think it holds up. It can lead to very weird gameplay situations where you're the only one knowing what other people have in their hands, stuff like that. Can be weird. Pietro Gasparin, banning Rhystic Study would not affect the metagame. I think banning Rhystic Study would not change which decks are viable and which decks aren't viable, because we still have fish, right? Fish would still remain, and then other stuff would still remain, and I think Smothering Tithe would still be good enough. But I think it would have a drastic impact on how tournaments play out because of all the triggers. Not Tim. Be respectful and don't talk over your opponents, but please talk. Be willing to share information, but know when to keep it to yourself. The game is just as much the politics as it is the cards. Definitely agree. cEDH is brewing, playing, and talking. If you don't talk, you're missing out on a lot of potential. But again, if you're toxic, people won't politic with you or in your favor. So being respectful is, I think, just in life, the best advice. Elias Escamilla. Bring water and food. Nutrition is important for big events. Yes, I made a video about this in my performance anxiety, handling performance anxiety video in the cEDH masterclass. Super important to be hydrated and to eat enough, but not too much, so that you can just function without feeling nauseous. Very, very good advice. Mr. Dude TCG. Not losing is not the same as winning. And I agree. So there's this difference between the mentality of play not to lose and play to win. And at this point, I tend to be way more in favor of this play to win mentality. Make your opponents have it. Go for it. Nick, preparing for Cradle to the Guild. Make them have it. Yes. Agree. Skelt. Control of information is important. Be considerate of what you share and what you say. Yeah, we had that. It's very important how you control your open and your hidden information. Sometimes you need to tell your opponents about specific cards that you have or that another opponent might have if you like git prop them. Sometimes it's just best to keep it to yourself for a while. Craig Griffin III, Copium Expert. The biggest barrier is learning to mulligan appropriately. Yes, 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 yes. I see way too many people take bad hands because it's like bait. Example in Urza, people taking hands that lead into turn 1 Urza or turn 2 Urza without any kind of payoff or draw engine or anything else. It's just bait. Won't lead anywhere. Black Weltall. I need to do something because I'm not getting another turn. Yes. I don't know. Sometimes. I mean, if you're able to present a win or disruption, yeah. But if you don't have anything and you're just throwing the game or like king making, then I don't know, maybe not. Dio Macho Brilliant Brawler. Never take the first 7 cards unless it's a guaranteed turn 0 win. Okay, I don't know about this one, but if you have like a turn, if you have the first 7 that's like a turn 2 Rhystic study, then take that, right? But if you have a first 7 where you're thinking like, I mean, this is okay, but could be better, definitely mull, because the first mulligan is free, right? You will see 7 more cards, and it might just be a lot better. Zippy MTG. Don't rely on deals you make with people beyond immediacy, i.e. saying if you let this resolve, I will do exactly this, then pass equals fine. Saying if I interact here, don't win on your turn is foolish. Ah, okay, I get what you're saying. So a large enough portion of players have shown that circumstances can change, don't bank on it. I agree, yeah. Deals can't be enforced by judges, so be very mindful of how you word your deals and who you make deals with and to what extent you make deals with. Anyone. And another comment by Fonzie. In the meta full of midrange, you should be playing something turbo. Honestly, I still think turbo is very viable, but at the moment I'm so deep in the midrange grind, I don't even know. I haven't seen a lot of turbo decks recently, to be honest. Just very occasionally. It's all midrange. So much Rhystic study. I'm drowning in Rhystic studies. Darian. B94? My best advice is a rule I follow for myself called Rule of 3 when it comes to redundancy for main win lives. Oh, okay, yeah, we had that before, I think. Might be true, I don't know the specific numbers on it, but it's definitely good advice to have some redundancy for resilience, right? Yeah. And then we have a comment by the one and only Ken Baumann. Passive engines, e.g. Rhystic Study, are tools of cowardice. I mean, I know that Ken can stop playing Rhystic, I think. in light of the recent debate about like banning or not banning Rhystic Study. But I think Ken is just such an absurdly good player that he just gets away with it. Whereas people that are much more mediocre players need to rely on Rhystic Studies. There is this saying, right? Rhystic Study carries you through a game, and it's just so true. But some people just don't need to be carried, right? Like Ken, he doesn't need to be carried. He just wins. Okay, this one is a bit more detailed by Riley's Nipple Wild Deck. Okay, this is a Bowmaster's guide. I mean, this is not concise, but it's about when to ping what. So Bowmaster, if someone is winning right now, yes, shoot them or their stuff, okay? If they're not winning, do they have one ring protection and no creatures? Yes, shoot your own orc army. So you don't shoot anything random, okay? And if they don't have that, shoot the person who's drawing the card or their mana. Good guide. Easy to understand. Nice. The last comment for today. Pre-game gaslight the Inala player and make everyone play responsibly against the Grixis pile. Yes. I mean, this goes into politics, right? But pre-game gaslighting, even if it's very subtle, can have a huge impact on how your opponents view each other. So, good advice. And yeah, that's it for today. 66 community comments. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. If you want to support me even more, please consider becoming a patron and subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching my video. This is Eisenherz and auf Wiedersehen.